All right, that's more like it for the Edmonton Oilers. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream postgame show. Edmonton with a 4-1 victory. You can hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel. YouTube Travel, are you okay over there?
Yeah, I had the video playing on the computer.
Oh, I know. I could hear it.
Yeah. So, and I didn't know I had that open. So it was playing on the computer. We heard. So sorry about that, guys. But I figured it out. I'm getting better at this every single day.
You're doing fine. The Oilers win at 4-1 over the Seattle Kraken. A much better performance. Where was that all week long? In the last 3 games since the Heritage Classic. That was a thorough win for the Edmonton Oilers. It's a relief to be able to talk about a game like that. They didn't have to pull out a nail-biter. They took the lead early. They stayed in control. They played solid. They got great saves from their goalie when they actually had shots against. They kept Seattle to just 18 shots on goal tonight. That was a good win. A good win. It's a pleasure to talk about a good win compared to what we had to talk about on Thursday night, and I'm more than happy to do so. So get in on the conversation, 780-218-9999. The Oilers pick up their 3rd victory of the year. Far cry from the porous effort we witnessed in San Jose the other night. The Oil wrap up this 3-game Pacific Division road trip with a 1-2 record and will return to Rogers Place on Monday to take on the New York Islanders. 780-218-9999. If you're listening, if you're watching, nasty chat, talk amongst yourselves, as Mike Myers used to say in that SNL skit. But we'll dip into the nasty chat as well. Matt Cassian on his way to help break things down. Let's begin tonight with the box score, the game stats, and the scoring summary. It was the Zach Hyman show in the first period. 9:56 in. It would be Hyman collecting his 5th goal of the season from Evander Kane. A nice backhander. Just a nice backhander off the rush. That was quick hands in tight, too, for Zach Hyman. Not the deftest with the touch, but there he certainly had a deft touch and scored a really nice backhander with some quick hands on Philip Grubauer to give the Oilers the lead. Then, about 5 minutes later, it would be Hyman at 14:09, his 2nd of the night, 6th of the year on the power play from Bouchard and Nugent Hopkins. Just get the puck to the net. Matt Cassian has talked about it. Get the puck to the net. Bouchard funnels it through. Good that he gets the shot through a little bit of traffic, and there's Hyman doing what he does best, and that's banging home some garbage. They all count. They all count. To me, that was a good goal. That was a nice goal. 2-0 Oilers on Hyman's 6th. And then at 18:40, Hyman, just the 2nd Oiler ever, I believe it's with a natural hat trick in the first period. We'll check Jack Michaels. He's a nerd and has those stats and stuff all the time. Let me verify here. Yeah, that was the 2nd first-period natural hat trick in Oilers history. Gretzky did it December 17th, 1986 against the Quebec Nordiques. McDavid had a 3-goal game back in 2017-18, first game of the year, where he scored all 3 goals for the Oilers and of the game in a 3-0 victory. So Hyman completes the hat trick in the first period. The natural hattie, good for him. And that one comes at 18:40, unassisted, his 7th of the season. And for good measure, just a minute 2 later, Dylan Holloway, a greasy goal as well. Good hands in tight by Holloway from McLeod and Ceci to make it 4-0. And in the third period, Jaden Schwartz scored his 8th of the year, redirected it off of his foot on a power play from Tolvanen and Dunn. It counts because he didn't boot it in. 4-1 is your final. That Schwartz goal coming at 2:25. The Oilers managed to hold the fort. They did give up some opportunities in that third period, and when they did, Stuart Skinner was there to make the big save. He had a great first save of the game. I think that helped set the tone, maybe instill a little bit of confidence in the group. And then he carried on with the solid play whenever he was tested. Just 18 shots against the Oilers tonight. 26-4. Faceoffs 54-46 in favor of the Kraken. Edmonton's power play 1 for 3. The PK 2 for 3, so it leaks one. Again, hits 17-9 in favor of Seattle. Block shots 13-10 in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. Let's get our game analyst, Matt Cassian, in here now. Cass, intentionality, hustle, effort, right mindset, commitment to defense, a far cry, total opposite from what we saw on Thursday night, no?
Yeah, well, they were actually around the net.
Yeah.
And would you look at it, Tommy? Would you just look at it? They were around the net, and they scored some goals because they were around the net. And would you also look at it? They limited the number of grade A chances against.
Yes.
Now, the ones that they did get, Stuart Skinner, for the most part, made some big saves, which was great. Great to see from him from a confidence standpoint. But, Tommy, they actually did a whole bunch of the little things. And I noticed it right from the drop of the puck. They were much more engaged tonight. I mean, you just look at Holloway's game as an example.
Yeah, best game as a pro.
His best game as a pro.
Yep.
Compare his game tonight. If we're gonna not that it's his fault the rest of the season thus far the way that it's gone, but compare how he played tonight basically to how the Oilers played the rest of the year. Just completely different. Engaged, physical. Yeah, he took a couple too many penalties, but was around the net, creating some havoc, buries a greasy goal by battling to the front of the net. And it was just a better game overall. Now, Tom, we can't completely disregard the third period. And
Let's go into it.
We can't disregard the third period that they all of a sudden went in, Seattle gets one goal, and then they went into oh my gosh, we don't want to lose this game mentality and foot completely off the gas. And then Seattle pushed, and they almost didn't know how to handle a big push in that instance. But that's the first time they've really been in a situation like that this season, at least. So, I mean, I don't want to harp on it or anything, but the third period wasn't great. Back on their heels, throwing away pucks a little bit too much, trying to go over sticks through people a little bit too much. But at the end of the day, you still had a 3-goal lead, so you could sit back a little bit, and they get a huge win.
Cass, to your point, in that third period, they did get outshot 9-0.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Dylan Sinkovich in on the chat saying, I'm wearing a hat, Cass, wearing a hat that says hope, fitting for Oilers fan everywhere. That's why I'm wearing it. It was a conscious decision.
I respect that, Cass.
It was a conscious decision.
2-9-1. None of us thought we would be there on Thursday night having to discuss the game that we did. And it's, I think, understandable for the sake of everybody's sanity in this fair city that, a little good juju goes a long way. And we can certainly give them praise when they deserve it. And we will praise them tonight for that 4-1 victory over the Seattle Kraken. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. Nasty chat. Fire away, nasty chat. We'll keep tabs. I know Cass likes to get in there and mix it up a little bit as well. This text comes in. It's pretty straightforward. I'll just throw it at you, Cass. It's from Nick in St. Albert. Big win or just a game against the Kraken? Cass, go for it.
I think it's a big win because of how they won. It wasn't like they struggled out of the gate and just scraped by. Like, no, it was a convincing win, and they played the style of game that brought them success last year.
Yeah.
They were up-tempo. They were more north-south. They were in and around the net when they got pucks there. And they limited, and completely eliminate, but they limited the grade A chances against. So, yeah. I mean, it was I think hopefully a huge win from a mentality standpoint. One that you could have used 5 games ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We harped on Leon Draisaitl, who, by the way, has 15 points this season. Worth noting. When he had that horrible shift on the first goal in San Jose on Thursday, they ISO'd him in the third period where he had a great back check. Hustled, his feet were moving. Gets a pass late in the shift, outlet pass, just gets to the Kraken blue line and dumps it in, and then goes off, and Ryan McLeod gives him a pat on the back as he's huffing and puffing for air. That's the difference, Cass. That's intentionality like you talk about.
Yep.
Your best guys have to do it too, right? You can't
Yep.
just skill your way to victory because you've scored 50 multiple times. You've been a Hart Trophy winner. You got to do the tough stuff, and that was a perfect example of that. So good on him for doing it tonight. This has to continue, obviously, but we should, again, heap praise where praise is deserved. There was a text that came in, Cass, that said, can you fire a coach? This is via the nasty chat from Thomas M. Can you fire a coach after a pretty dominant win? I get the sense, just shooting some text back and forth with some people, that we won't be seeing a coaching change. I get the sense we won't be seeing a coaching change right away.
Yeah, you probably would have seen it after last game if you were going to see it. Was my thought. If they were going to do it right away, it would have been after that last game. I don't think they're going to do it after today. He's still on very thin ice.
Yes, correct.
I mean,
that
if they
was
come out
something
on,
that was reminded to me.
Yeah, if they come out on Monday again and it's another garbage game.
Yeah.
Well, you're right back to it.
Yeah.
You're right back to it. But, a big win tonight, a positive game, a lot of good things. You get a win in convincing fashion. So, I mean, does it ease the pressure off? Oh, maybe a
tiny bit.
Tiny little bit.
Yeah. The 3-9-1, yes. But that was a good win. And the Kraken, going back to that one text that came in, if it was just a game against the Kraken are a good team. They beat the defending Stanley Cup champs in the playoffs last year. They've had some injuries. No Eberle tonight. Tanev's been banged up. He's missed a chunk of the season with that, I'm assuming, concussion when he got hit by Howden. I think that was in one of the first games of the year. No Burakovsky. They chased Grubauer tonight. That's good for the Oilers, but the Kraken are a good team, and they just beat Colorado on Thursday as well. Like they're
not
team.
A pushover.
No,
I don't think they're a decent team. I don't think they're a great team, but they're a decent team. They're a team that works hard, right? They try to pressure you. They try to do things the right way. They try to play a disciplined game, and they'll push back. Not a team that's afraid of getting involved in games. So not a slouch. They're not the San Jose Sharks. Well, they're not the San Jose Sharks, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, let's. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that Thursday night for the rest of the show. Let's park that one. I blame myself, Cass, because I brought it up. But it is a far cry from what we had to deal with following that 3-2 loss in San Jose. This is a breath of fresh air, let's call it. 780-218-9999. If you have any questions or comments that you want to float our way, or you want to ask Cass anything about structure or strategy, system stuff, let us know, and we'll get to it. This text from Bison Mask Guy says, let's expletive go, all caps. Good to hear from you, Bison Mask Guy. Bryce the Sparky says, good win for the boys. Love the tenacity of Holloway. What does a game like that do for a Dylan Holloway, Cass, as a young guy? I mean, he was all around it. Everything he did tonight, I enjoyed watching. I thought it was highly entertaining. Speed. Nice goal in tight, a fight with Vince Dunn again. He fought him last year, if you don't recall. Even Ryan McLeod, who's been lumped in with Holloway, and rightly so, for guys that haven't provided any offense from a bottom six standpoint. What did you see from those two?
Well, from Holloway, it's easy. It's everything you talked about. It's actually being around the net. Mm-hmm. It's being engaged physically. It's moving his feet. And pressuring and being aggressive and being involved and being engaged and McLeod maybe to a lesser extent. I mean, he didn't have the night that Holloway had, but same thing is, like, at least he was engaged. He was engaged. I mean, the whole team for the most part, they were engaged tonight. Where it wasn't just sitting back and watching things happen. It was making things happen. And there's a difference between those two mindsets. So yeah, McLeod, better night tonight. Holloway, as you said, Tommy, I think that's his best game in the NHL thus far.
Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed watching him play in that one, and hopefully he can build on it, get a little bit of confidence, gets that goal. That certainly will help, and maybe he gets going, and maybe some guys in the bottom six. Warrior of the game, Derek Ryan. If I said that to you, Cass, would you laugh at it, scoff at it, or say, yeah, that's worthy?
Yeah, I mean, my warrior of the game is Dylan Holloway.
Well, sure, yes.
For me, outside of that, Ryan, yeah, I mean, he kind of get ran over there and banged up a little bit with the butt check. But he battled out there too. So unsung hero, maybe.
Unsung hero, that's a better term.
Sure, there you go.
Better, I like it. Cass, you got my back. I love it. This text says, Tommy, thank the Lord with Hyman's defibrillation. This team has a pulse again. Well, starts with one, right? This one, I hope I'm...
That's one beat, Tommy.
That's one.
One beat doesn't mean the heart's going.
That's
right?
true.
Like it's gotta keep pumping.
Good context. This one, I hope I'm saying the name right. Janias. Janias says, Janias here. So Oilers win this game. Awesome to see. Holloway played awesome. Besides the penalties, do you believe we still get a coaching change come Monday? Also, when will McDavid and Dry get back to playing like superstars? I'll just go with the coaching change thing. I'll reiterate, from what I gather, it doesn't sound like one is coming right away. And Woody will live to fight another day. Cass, with the McDavid and Draisaitl thing, playing like superstars, what's your take on where they're at?
Well, you're seeing little flashes from McDavid where he'll have a shift and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, he really looks like he typically does or did last year. And then, he'll be a little bit quiet at times. Draisaitl, I think it's pretty clear, is fighting the puck, is fighting it mentally. I think for him, getting back to where he needs to be is stringing together shifts like the one you talked about, ISO-cammed, where it's like, no, he had a hard back check, got involved in the play, helped defensively, got the puck out, and then ended up chipping it in. Now that doesn't mean he puts points on the board in that instance, but it's a start. It's a start for guys that are struggling. I mean, typically it's just get back to the simple things and the little things, and the goals and points at some point will take care of themselves for guys that are that skilled. So it's just a matter of sticking with it for him. McDavid, we've talked about before, still think he's a little banged up.
Yeah.
However, I would say some of those flashes, Tommy, seem to be happening a little bit more. And I don't know if you maybe can comment on it. If maybe you're seeing the same thing, in that I'm seeing more of those sparks more frequently in a game, where he was really, really quiet with nothing for a while. And now it's like he's having more shifts where he's controlling the play, controlling the puck, dictating the pace, as it were. Now, maybe that's just my eyes deceiving me or not deceiving me, but he's slowly, to me, starting to inch back. But for Leon, he's clearly fighting it. Fortunately gets a lot of support today from everybody, and hopefully he can build on it and maybe put one in and start getting back to his dominant self.
Cass, on the McDavid thing, in the first period specifically is where I was like, oh, okay, his puck touches are sharp. It looks like he's dangerous every time he was touching it. And I think as the game progressed and they built up that lead, maybe he dialed it back and just went into more of a prevent mode and responsible type of play.
The whole team did.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, that didn't serve them well in the third, and it's not something you want to make a habit of. Again, really, really good that they got the win. Great in the manner that they got the win. Still some issues that need to get worked out. Mm-hmm. Still need to work on clamping teams down. It's just like it is an abnormal situation for the year where they have a multiple goal lead heading into the third period. And so, but I would agree with you. Maybe took a foot off the gas a little bit when they had a couple.
Into the nasty chat we go, Jason and Leduc, and this is something we don't get to say very often via text and nasty chat. Someone bringing up Darnell Nurse's performance in a good way. Jason and Leduc says, Nurse looked really strong tonight. In fact, I can't think of an Oiler I was frowning at tonight. If you're wondering how Darnell's night went, Nurse was +2, 3 hits, 3 shots, 23-27 time on ice. Ferocious at times, Cass.
Yep, a solid night from him. I liked his jump a couple times. He picked his spots well, I thought, to carry the puck offensively and when to move it, and was just solid in the defensive zone. And that's what you want. That's what you want from Darnell Nurse. So it was a good night. But I thought, the last couple of games, he's had some moments where he's been a little bit more aggressive defensively and been a little bit more physical, and I've appreciated that.
Yep.
And today kind of is able to put it all together and have a solid night, I thought, from Darnell Nurse. So I agree with Jason.
Dylan, also via the Nasty Chat, says Nurse/CC had a quietly good night. So some praise there. This one from Old School Nasty says, Cass, have they abandoned the new defensive structure? In your opinion, Cass?
Nope. It's still the same. They're still doing the same thing. I mean, and I've said this multiple times, the new defensive structure isn't really that different than the old defensive structure. It's not. They slide back and collapse to the front of the net a little bit more. That's kind of the whole point of it. Try to add in support around the front of the net to help the goalies. And the issue this year has not been that as much as has been rush chances against. I mean, there's been moments when it's failed them or they've made mistakes. But no, the structure is the same. They've ran with it. They've continued to run with it. And I don't think there was any reason to change it because it wasn't the structure. Now, was the structure affecting them mentally? These little changes? Well, maybe. And maybe that's been a part of why they have struggled. And that's fair to question. But overall, it wasn't the structure. It wasn't the issue. It was just the big old mistakes that they would make all the time, primarily on the rush against. Sorting things out, communication, just missed assignments, misreads, misplays, just horrible execution.
780-218-9999. This text from Library Pat says, this game was what I had been expecting to see on Thursday. Library Pat, you and about 1.3 million others in and around the capital region. Another text says, Tommy, please tell the world that Oilers fans don't want to see Woody gone. You saw that sign. It was Woody's Warriors behind the bench today. And I think there's quite a bit of support for Jay Woodcroft. Certainly. You saw they had the graphic there, Scott Oak. Scott had the graphic with the last 4 Oilers coaches. Woodcroft, by far and away, the best winning percentage in his tenure as head coach of the Oilers. His record improves to 79, 41, and 13 as head coach of the Oilers in the regular season. His record in the postseason, I'm just off the top of my head, I think it's 500. So, he's been their best coach, most effective coach in the year and a half, calendar-wise, that he's been behind the bench. Russian Spa Guy. Great name. Tommy, what is wrong with 97 injury-wise? Cass, it's an oblique we're thinking, right? We're not doctors.
Oblique or abs. Yeah, not doctors, and they don't tell us, so we're guessing. Won't tell us. But it would make sense that that's what it is.
Yeah. Text from Glenn. Glenn says, solid defensive game from everyone. Forwards finally back-checking hard. Great game by 18 and 55. Love greasy goals. I love greasy goals too, Cass. Glenn ends this text with great timely saves by Skinner. Another text says, is anyone concerned about Vincent Desharnais? He is an absolute hot potato with the puck. I don't know if he can complete a pass tape to tape, and he is a liability. Now, YouTube Trev and I noted a few instances where Desharnais had some rough patches with the puck. Cass, what are you seeing from the sixth defenseman on the blue line?
Yeah, he's fighting it a little bit too. He's fighting it a little bit too, and probably fighting confidence-wise. If we look at the roster and if we look at changes that could potentially be made, I mean, his name's probably pretty high on the list. Mm-hmm. So I imagine it's not exactly a not stressful time for our boy Vinny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he tonight especially, I would agree. A few instances of him just either bobbling the puck or just kind of hoping something would happen, just kind of hitting it and hoping it goes where it needs to go. Mm-hmm. Is it concerning at this point? Well, potentially. Have we seen him have the ability to lock it down a little bit more and to play a little bit more consistent? Yes. I mean, the team as a whole has been searching for that consistency.
Yeah,
so
they have.
I think fortunately for him tonight, none of the mistakes came back to bite them. But his leash is short. Really, it is. It's a short leash. I think he's capable. I think he's an NHL player. If he continues to struggle, will they potentially look to make a change? Probably.
Yeah, sure.
Probably. I mean, you have Gleason down there who had a great camp.
Broberg's still down there working at his game.
Broberg's still down there. So you have some options there. Now he has, and one of his big things has been, the penalty kill, and he has made their penalty kill better. He's better than a lot of the other guys on that penalty kill.
Yes.
But at some point, if he does struggle with the puck and you can't have him out there 5-on-5, well, yeah, you might have to make a change.
780.
Tommy,
yeah.
positives.
Go ahead.
Positives.
Yes.
Positives.
But
the one.
But fair point. Like, yes, we did notice that there was some tough moments for Vinny Desharnais, and we'll acknowledge that. So to the texter, yeah, absolutely. Another text says, do you, and if so, when would you give Pickard a start to get in some game action? Cass, we know that this is Stuart Skinner's net with Jack Campbell being down in the minors. Campbell, by the way, did start again tonight in another game where the Condors gave up 4 to the Abbotsford Canucks. They lose 4-0. Campbell, 22 saves on 26 shots. So tough night for Campbell.
Yep.
When would you put Calvin Pickard in there? Because you got the Islanders Monday.
I just pulled up the yeah.
You got the schedule. You got the
Pulling
Kraken
up the
again
schedule,
on
Tommy.
Wednesday, and then you get Tampa next Saturday at 2:00 our time. So
I mean, you're playing Skinner all 3 of those, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you have it's a day, and he'll play. Then you have another day, and then you have a couple days before that Tampa game. So really, you're not in a position like there's no back-to-backs. I mean, do you throw him in against Anaheim? Do you potentially throw him in against Washington?
I was saying
in that afternoon game.
Yeah, Washington's had a stink year.
Yeah,
It's just full of stink.
and it's an Eastern team, so you might look at Washington. I mean, you're probably looking at one of those 2 games. He's going to go against Vegas. You're going to go against Carolina. You're going to go against Florida. Like all. So I would think for Pickard, you're probably looking, probably Washington or Anaheim. You might be right. It might be the Washington one.
Especially if it's thin ice game by game for Jay Woodcroft. He's going to do everything he can to keep that job. So it'll probably maybe be a while before we see Calvin Pickard. Game by game, though. Game by game. We shall see how it goes. This text comes in from Mark. Mark, thanks for the text. Says, hey, guys, big fan of the show, especially watching in bed after a big win on a Saturday night. Do you think this win turns the heat down on making a big move whenever it may be? I would expect a roster shakeup before a coaching change, but the GM owes Woody some help. Getting to a full roster would be a good start. Thanks from Mark, who's in bed.
Well, Mark, the heat went down. If you're looking at your stove and you have like one of those stoves, it's 0 to max. The heat was at max, and you probably inched it down to 9.5. Halfway between max and 9. So did it alleviate some of it? A little bit. Yep. But if they drop a stinker on Monday, it's going to be cranked right back up there. Now you're talking like those little increments, because if they have another really good game on Monday, they play well, they win a hockey game, they play a 60-minute game, they do all the good things again, they're around the net, they just play solid, they play intentional, they play with aggression and emotion, and they play well. Well, then we're taking it down to 9. And in every game they win, if let's say they string 5 or 6 games together, well, then all of a sudden, the heat will start to lower. But for now, it's just tiny little pressure releases, not very much.
There's the answer, Mark. I hope you're comfortable in bed while you watch us. You can watch us anywhere. You can listen anywhere. 780-218-9999 to text in. And nasty chat going strong as I go to this one. It says, I liked Kane again tonight. He knows when to play or be physical. It's not emotional with this guy. He is a pro. Another text says, Holloway played like he was scared to get sent down. Now he needs to keep it going his best game as an Oiler. Another one here from Gotta Be KD. Great handle. Skinner needed a game like this. He came up big when it counted, and the goal he allowed, he had no chance on. Not much you can do on a deflection like that. Hopefully, this gets him going too. Another one here says, hey, gents, hot take, but can we get McDavid and Dry on a milk carton? Both have gone missing. Kane had another good game. He seems to care a lot more than our big boys. The overall effort was better tonight. That one comes in from our pal Taco. And Dirty Kurt. Did I read Dirty Curdy's earlier? Do you remember, Trev? I don't know if I got to Dirty Curdy's already. Dirty Curdy got in pretty early today.
I don't know. I'm
Cass,
sorry.
do you recall if I got to Dirty Curdy or did he not say?
I can't remember if it was Dirty Curdy's or not.
I can't. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll read Dirty Curdy's because his are usually well thought out. I did not read it. Dirty Curdy texts in, says, it's a shame it took getting to the breaking point to put this effort in, but 4 blue paint, high effort threshold goals, an early big save, layers of defending. I love that description. Layers tonight, Cass, of defending. Bent didn't break. Can this effort be consistently duplicated? Hyman led by example. Stars, take note. Leon and Connor hasn't worked, and Woody continues to go back to it. Need a 8-1-1 run to show the fans they're back. 1 is just a blip. Let's see this for 3 in a row. Unlike Witt, we are still here, barely, from Dirty Curdy. Thanks for the text, Dirty Curdy. The layers in defending I really like because, Cass, we saw it tonight.
Yeah, we did. We did. And just like Calvin C. On the Nasty Chat, who is in bed now, most likely has layers of blankets. The best defense has layers as well. Also probably in bed, John Mercer, watching from Nicam, Saskatchewan.
Whoa.
Where it's almost 12:30.
All right.
So, John, thanks for the watch and the listen. Layers of defense is what their defensive system is supposed to do.
Yeah.
And the change that they had made was basically back the layers up a little bit. That's the change. It wasn't, they played zone defense before. They played, still playing zone defense. It's just slightly modified in terms of when you go, who goes, making sure someone holds the net front a little bit longer, trying to keep your net front presence so that you outnumber the other teams in front of your own net.
Right.
That's what they're trying to play. They have been very unsuccessful at it for, the word that I love that you use is the cascade of errors that they have frequently made. Now, in zone defensively, that hasn't been what, for the most part, has caused them all kinds of issues. It's been the rush against. But yes, tonight, good layers. It was warm. It was cozy. Just like all our listeners who are in their bed, hopefully they have multiple layers of warm, cozy blankets, and it keeps you safe and snug. And tonight, for the most part, it kept the Oilers safe and snug too.
I'm laughing at all the people now admitting that they're watching in bed. Surveyor Brett, I am also in bed watching Tommy. Hey now. Oh, Surveyor Brett, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching from your couch, from your bed, on your phone, in your office, I don't know, wherever, at the bar maybe, I doubt it. We appreciate it for sure. 4-1, the Oilers win it over the Seattle Kraken. Really quickly, Cass, I'll take a quick look at what happened around the National Hockey League tonight, especially games that maybe concern the Oilers, even though it's 13 games into the season. The Stars beat the Jets 3-2. We saw Calgary lose 4-1 to the Sens in Ottawa. The Canucks drop a 5-2 decision to the Maple Leafs. Apparently, I saw Brendan Batchelor going after analytics. I think it was Dom from The Athletic. I don't know. I think that I don't want to get in the mix with their arguments, but the Canucks dropping one game to a Leafs team that has had its struggles this year, I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't. So, but interesting how it's sparked like that. And, fan bases can go loco sometimes. Ours does. That's why we get to do what we get to do. And evidently one loss in Vancouver to the Leafs has caused a bit of a stir. Batch is a good dude. I love Batch. He's actually a really good dude. You want to take a shot at something in regard to that, or are you going to just leave it?
You know what? I didn't read any of it, so I don't want to comment it because I don't know what was said.
Not worth it. If you want, you can go to Canucks Twitter. It's, you know what? Oilers Twitter tonight is a happy place. and we're just going to stick with that. Let's stick with that. Anyway, that was just a side note, because Batch is a friend, and I noticed that he was teeing off on some of the rhetoric around the Canucks' loss. They've had a great start to the year. They really have. The Coyotes, 7-5 winners in Nashville tonight, Cass. On the night they honored Ryan O'Reilly for his 1,000th game in Nashville. The Blues destroy the Avalanche 8-2. The Kings fall 4-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers. So some interesting results tonight around the National Hockey League. Anything stand out to you, Cass?
Well, you made up 2 points.
They made up 2 points. There you go.
You made up 2 points on a couple of teams. Made up 2 points on a couple of teams, but you can't worry about those because you can't control them. I think for the Edmonton Oilers as an organization and for us as fans and members of the media, you just got to worry about the next one. So you got to worry about the Islanders. You got to worry about carrying over that good feeling.
Yeah.
The good vibes that you built from tonight, not being complacent with it, but remembering how you had to play tonight to get the win and carrying that forward.
Cass, we are going to get to a couple more texts via the Nasty Chat, via the inbox, and then we're going to get your look ahead to this upcoming brief 2-game homestand where the Oilers take on the Islanders and the Kraken again, Monday and Wednesday. And then YouTube Trev is working on some post-game audio and video. That'll probably come in a little bit. When we get it, we will play it for you. But Cass, this text says, Oiler fans so fickle, get 0 shots in third, but we win the game, carry the vast majority of plays, sound defense, great goaltending, reduce the shots against, but 0 shots in the third. Sky is falling. Who's saying that? Comes in from Mike Smith, not the Mike Smith, via the Nasty Chat. Why would anybody be complaining about that?
We're not saying the sky's fallen. I think there was a couple people in the Nasty Chat that were just like, it was horrible. They got 0 shots in the third.
Gotcha.
And I mean, the third period wasn't a great period. They had enough to win, so they sit back. And as we talked about, not a situation they've been in yet this year. So they were on their heels a little bit, but they were in a comfortable position.
Yeah.
So there is no need to panic over it. I think it's, if you're taking something as a coaching staff to say, okay, let's pull and focus on all the good things we did and things we can improve on. The play in the third period is something they can improve on because they got away from playing north-south. They started throwing pucks a little bit, started trying to thread plays a little bit instead of just doing what made them successful or more successful in the first 2 periods. So the third period wasn't great, but we're not freaking out about that.
No.
But I understand why people would, because of their record. It's the record's fault. It's not this game. It's just accumulation of how they have played over the entirety of the season, where people would hit that panic button a little bit with seeing the third. And I understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand that.
Full acknowledgement there. And Mike, I'm sorry, I jumped into that. I didn't know it was a conversation that was going, so I got into it late. Dylan also said, Edmonton fans are notorious for being cool, calm, and collected.
That we are.
I see Trev over there doing some namastes. You doing all right? You're in a good headspace tonight.
Yeah, 100%. Dylan knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, couple more texts, then we'll get Cass's look ahead, and we will see if we can get some audio and video for you following the Oilers' 4-1 victory over the Seattle Kraken. Nate Dowg says, how do you guys feel about the defense tonight? Was a giant improvement in my eyes. The Bouchard and Ekholm matchup is perfect. I hope they continue with it. We like the defense, Nate Dowg. We liked how they protected in layers. We liked how there was support from the forwards. Cass, Evan Bouchard tonight. We're not talking about egregious errors, are we?
Nope, no egregious errors. And you mentioned it briefly. I thought it was Ekholm's best game of the season as well.
Right.
I thought he played really well. Threw that one big hit, which was awesome. Loved that hit. And was much more the Matthias Ekholm we saw.
Right.
Prior.
Is he moving?
To this season.
Is he moving better, Cass? Do you think, or is that
hard to say?
That's going to be a slow progression? Do you think?
I think it's a slow progression. Hard to say. He's certainly not moving as poorly as he did when he first came back, where it was like he couldn't turn one way. I haven't noticed that, I would say. But he just like the rest of the team, he'd kind of fallen victim to making some uncharacteristic errors all the time.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say all the time for him, but more often than he typically does. And he didn't tonight. It was a solid game.
Naughty Possum says, I loved how aggressive Dylan Holloway was on the boards, too. Lots of praise for Dylan Holloway, rightly so. Picks up a goal, gets a fight, all over it tonight. And as Cass said, probably his best game as an NHLer. All right, Matt Cassian, our game analyst. Let's take a look ahead to Monday night against the Islanders. 6:30 start our time at home, which is odd. And then another 6:30 time on Wednesday against the Kraken, so a little bit earlier. Which is fine. This Islanders game, what's the strategy? What's the mindset? What do you think Jay Woodcroft is telling his guys? What do you think the guys are saying to themselves on the plane ride, getting ready? They'll probably have an off day tomorrow. Give us as best of a peek behind the curtain as you could possibly give.
You're watching that video and you're going, more of that. See how that worked? See how we scored being around the net? See how you had to work for that goal? See how this player or that player worked back to the puck in the defensive zone and was able to break up a play?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to be pulling everything you can from this game to say, this is what makes us successful. We haven't done it. You remember all the video we've watched, because they undoubtedly have watched a ton of it this year, of things not working, of making big mistakes. Let's watch the nitty-gritty, greasy stuff. The Dylan Holloway type of goals.
Yeah. Zach Hyman
that he
type
got
of
today.
Goals.
Zach Hyman type of goals that he got today. Watch that as a group, as individuals, and pull that forward, because you need more of it.
Yeah.
If they played the way they played tonight, they probably don't. They're not going to win every game until you're going to go 82-0. But their record would look a heck of a lot better than it does right now. So you're going to try to just absolutely pull everything you can out of that and try to push for that same push against the Islanders, who you should, if you play that way, you should beat. Who you should beat. They're reeling a little bit right now.
4-1 loss today to the Washington Capitals, 5-5-3 so far this season. And I want to see if they're on a little bit of a losing streak here. They've dropped
three in a row, I believe.
Yeah, 3-5-2 in their last 10. So you're right. Should is the line that the word that we underline and put heavy emphasis on, because should with this Oilers team doesn't always translate into will, unfortunately. So it'll be another adventure on Monday, but today was a good building block. Cass, you were outstanding today. Get some rest, my friend. Enjoy your Sunday. Happy birthday to Mama Cass, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
Absolutely. Tommy, I'm not going to bed angry tonight, so that's a good thing.
Hey, one last thing. YouTube Trav, don't you want to ask Cass about something? Fortnite?
Oh, boy.
Snap. Okay, this totally.
Said, do you think, he goes, I'll tee this up.
Okay,
really
this
quickly.
is great.
This is an aside. We're watching the game, and YouTube Trev's getting comfortable at EST now, so he's starting to ask inquisitive questions about me, about Lieutenant Eric. He's going to work his way up to Dusty. Him and Owanik are already pretty tight. So now you're next in line, Cass, and he starts asking questions about you. And I was like, well, I mean, it would be better if Cass answered that. So he was wondering, Cass.
Yeah, Cass. So this is going to be totally awesome. I've already got the night planned. We'll figure something out when the Oilers don't play. But I asked Tommy. We're talking Fortnite, and I hear you're quite the Fortnite player, eh?
Very good.
I don't know if I'd say quite the Fortnite player, but backstory. So I didn't really play video games. I played a lot before kids, and when I was playing hockey professionally, not as much after that. But then it got to a point in my life with a bunch of my buddies where we're like, I'm not a guy that goes out. We're not running around getting into trouble, and so we're like, okay, we all have kids now that all go to bed early. And we all have to be responsible adults. What's something we can do where we can still kind of talk and hang out, but we can, not have to plan something and, cash in all our points with our wives to go out, and hang out in person. And so we got back into the video games a little bit. So we don't play all the time. So I wouldn't say I'm quite a player, but I used to be really good at video games, but that was because I was playing way too much. But no, if you're asking if you want to roll sometime, as long as you do no build, because I hate the building part of it. If you want to roll no build, we can drop it.
Let's do it. Let's squad up. Yeah, you, Tommy, and I will squad up, and we're dropping tilted.
Hey, That smile is not going to
Absolutely.
be wiped off his face for another
so
3
happy
days
right
now.
now.
You don't understand how you made his night.
Well, good. I'm glad. Look, we're all going to bed happy, Tom.
That's right.
Everybody's going to bed.
Hey.
Calvin C, it's almost, it's whatever it is now in Saskatchewan. You're going to bed happy too, so great.
All right, Cass, fantastic stuff. You made a lot of people's nights, especially young YouTube Trevs. Have a good one, pal. Enjoy your Sunday. Talk to you on Monday.
Absolutely, boys. We'll see you later.
That's our game analyst, Fortnite Pro, Matt Cassian, who just fulfilled YouTube Trev's dream.
He's just so humble too. Hey, he says,
awesome.
I'm not that good, but I feel
really
like he's gonna be leading the charge for us. He's gonna be the McDavid, and I'll be like a Derek Ryan, a good roll guy, good glue guy. So that'll be I'm pumped. So we'll have a lot of fun with that, and I cannot wait. I still can't believe it. I really can't. Tommy.
We a little bit of an aside there. We can have a little fun tonight. It's not gloom and doom like Thursday night, so we are enjoying it a bit. Gordon says video games are just fine. Everything in moderation. YouTube Trev, how are we doing over there? Video?
Yeah, no, they're taking their sweet time tonight. That's for sure. Haven't been able to find anything. Nope. Okay, well, stay tuned.
Look who it is.
2 minutes.
I see
2 minutes.
Dylan Holloway.
Give me
We're
2
gonna
minutes.
Get that up here right away. All right, let's dip into the inbox. If you're still watching, thank you. Actually, we have a pretty good crowd for a night that's a late start with a win, where people are generally satisfied. So we thank you for that. So let's get into some of the commentary. Seaside Slug, who had some good texts earlier in the evening on the pregame show, says, we are officially off to a better start than the 90-91 Oilers. The team finished .500 before overtime losses were a thing, then made it to the third round, losing to the North Stars. So it ain't over just yet. Oh, yeah, different era, and that was the Cup defending champs. And then they made it to the conference final in 92 against Chicago as well. Of course, Pittsburgh winning both of those years against the North Stars and against the Blackhawks. Yeah, that was the end of Messier as an Oiler. I think Tikkanen wasn't far behind. That 90-91 team ended up having a good run. And in Mark Messier's book, I believe he wrote, it was 89-90 in the playoffs against Chicago where Messier took over in that series. I can't remember what game it was, but it was getting into the later stages of the series. And I remember talking to Craig McTavish earlier this summer about that when he was asking about the book. And I said, well, I didn't know about the 90 run. And, Messier, that was where he kind of arrived, where he just took over and dominated. And he goes, yeah, Mark went crazy that night. It was something to watch. But, 90-91 Oilers did not get off to a great start, but managed to go to the conference final. They got swept by Minnesota, if I recall that correctly. Just ran out of gas in that third round. If I'm wrong, please let me know via the nasty chat or the inbox. This one says, they may have been too defensive in the third period tonight, but they defended well. Best defensive effort I've seen all year from Havana Ben, who adds, I'm outside on the balcony hitting his bong. Some people do that on weekends. It's all good. Durs in GP with the picture. It says, on the floor watching. Durs, hope you got a cold one with you. Into the nasty chat we go. This one says, only 44. Jason and LeDuc, thanks for trying to get the thumbs up going. Hit those thumbs up. The algorithm game, we're playing that now on the YouTube side of things. And great to see how many people have subscribed to Edmonton Sports Talk. We just hit 5,000 subs, I think, last week. And we're already at 5.41, so 410 more since then. That's great. Good pace. We're building this thing up together. We're trying to bring you the best content possible. And without you, we can't do this. So if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you're enjoying the show. Carmen hopping in. Says, Tommy, will Woodcroft or Holland be fired tomorrow? Carmen, like I said earlier in the show, by all accounts from conversations I've had tonight, it doesn't sound like Jay Woodcroft will be. I don't know about Ken Holland's been pretty quiet from what I've heard on that front, but we shall see. Tomorrow just could be a quiet day off. I really don't want to go to a press conference tomorrow. I would like to enjoy a Sunday. I'm babysitting the damn dog. I love her to bits. She's my parents' dog. They're moving, so I babysat her. My brother babysat her. And I just want a relaxing day. That's it. Is that too much to ask? Anyway, do we have Dylan Holloway?
Dylan Holloway is ready.
Tee it up, big boy.
Right on. Here is Dylan Holloway after the Edmonton Oilers 4-1 win over the Seattle Kraken.
In this room, lots of guys. Maybe just a little bit on this sort of the feeling, and when it starts going right for you finally.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good feeling. I was kind of, I don't know, wanting a goal bad there. We're just happy the team got the win. That was huge for us, huge for the group. And, just going to try and keep it going for the rest of the week and then on our next road trip.
People were saying yesterday that yesterday's practice was probably the sharpest of the year to this point. What did you guys do to be able to translate that into a game today?
Yeah, I think yesterday everybody was in the right mindset. Things haven't been going our way, but I think we've been still having a good attitude as a collective group. And then, the last practice was sharp, and you practice how you play. So played sharp tonight too.
The way Zach gets the 3 goals early, what sort of tone did that set, given starts have been an issue?
Yeah, no, that's huge. I think big thing for us is just we've had some good starts, but then playing a full 60 after. We've had moments where we start good and then it kind of falls apart for us. So the fact that we were able to start good and kind of keep it going the whole game was massive tonight.
You guys have had a lot of shots in games, but it seemed like you were able to kind of penetrate and get to the blue paint a little bit more. Was that a key for tonight?
Yeah, that was massive. Like they say, they don't ask how, they don't ask how, they ask how many. And I think tonight just showed that it's you get to the net and you score goals there. So.
Dylan, just to piggyback off of Ryan's question about Zach, what's it like as a young player being mentored by a guy like Zach Hyman, who's known to be one of the hardest workers in the league?
Yeah, it's incredible. We got so many good older guys that you can learn from in this locker room. Hymes especially works so hard, and he's a bull in front of the net in the corners too. So definitely a guy that I try and learn from and take things into my own game.
After your fight with Vince Dunn, I noticed that Evander Kane came over to the penalty box and talked to you. What was the messaging there?
Yeah, he was saying good job, way to go. I think he loved it. So I don't know, I was pretty fired up still. So he just came over and said way to go.
Last time you had 11 penalty minutes in a game.
Oh, man. I don't know. I was hoping the game would end so I could stay out of the box. I felt like everything I did, I was just getting in the box. But, I mean, it happens. It's a good way to get on the score sheet. So.
What happened on that fight to lead to it?
Yeah, I mean, I was driving wide, shot. Saw he was coming, but I was kind of in a bad spot. Got hit pretty hard on the boards. It was a little winded, and then I got up. I saw him coming again, so I tried to reverse hit him. He's a pretty strong guy, and then he just kept asking me to go, and eventually I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So.
Yeah, when you look at this week, 2 disappointing losses, and then you close out with a win, how important was it for you guys to go back to home ice with a good feeling?
Yeah, it's massive. We deserved a good plane ride and a good plane ride home. So we'll just try and take this momentum going into Monday's game, and then, just keep it going from there.
There you go. There's Dylan Holloway. Pretty chipper. Rightly so. A goal on 1 shot. Seemed to be all over it. 11 penalty minutes plus 1. And 13:05 time on ice. Vince Dunn and Holloway fight for the second time in as many seasons. Do we get round 3 on Wednesday? I doubt it, but they seem to have a bit of a rivalry going. All right, we've got some more audio/video to get to. Who are we going to go to? YouTube, Trev?
Up next is the guy with the hat trick, Zach Hyman.
You have this big night, and it comes on a night where not only are you able to snap the streak, but it seems like this has been a different group going into the locker room compared to what we've seen lately.
Yeah, it's, just from a team perspective, I think just getting ahead, scoring first, and being able to build a lead. I think, when things aren't going well, you want to have a cushion, and it makes everybody feel a little bit more comfortable, right? I think when things are going well, little bounces that don't go your way aren't a big deal, but when they go against you, they're a huge deal. So to have a cushion after the first was really important.
Seemed like your office in front of the net got a lot of good use tonight, eh?
Yeah, no, in the first for sure, it was it was great. Obviously, anytime you can capitalize on those chances, it's fun. Like that's where it's fun, scoring. Putting your team ahead in the first, and there was a lot of good bounces in the first.
Did you notice a little bit of a difference in the way you guys kind of approach the offense, where you guys have had a lot of shots in games, but especially the first period, seemed to really penetrate and get in there close to the net and get good chances that way?
Yeah, I think if you look at kind of any analytics numbers, they'll tell you where most of the goals are scored. I don't know if it's like 50% or something like that, or it's within a 5-meter radius of the net, right? So taught at a young age, if you want to score, go to the net. And I think especially when things aren't as smooth as we'd like them to be. You know, we're a pretty offensive team, and when you're not getting the offense, you got to go back to what works and what's easy for everybody. I think is just scoring around the net.
Do you feel like, you know, everyone always says that you can't score, and then they start to come. Was tonight a night when they started to come, not just for you, but just for the team? Bounces, some pucks went in that hadn't been going in.
Yeah, and I think on the reverse end, I thought Stu played it great and just made key saves. One comes to mind is that I think it was 4-1, and there's a pass backside and off a face-off, and he's able to get his blocker on it. And I mean, that's a save that keeps it 4-1 rather than 4-2, and then they're pushing, right? And I just think that was a huge save, and I thought Dylan Holloway played amazing. I think he's really coming on of late, and for him to kind of get one around the net there was great. He had a fight also, so yeah, I think he's really coming.
Do you feel like all the things that have been going wrong finally started going right, like it's that kind of game?
Yeah, especially in the first. I mean, I think it was a pretty low-event game after that. Like, I don't think there was many great A's both ways. I think we kind of locked it down from there, and Stu made the saves that he needed to make, some big ones there, obviously. And yeah, I just think it was the first time I think we played a full 60 and just really controlled the game from the start.
Darnell and Evander were saying yesterday, like, hey, even though there's still a lot of season left, you're looking for a spark. Do you think something like this could be a springboard, or is it still kind of one of those, there's still a lot left, or how do you look at a game like this?
One game at a time. Like, I think that's kind of the mindset. Excuse me. Is we're just worried about today, and today was a good day to get back in the win column and kind of just breathe. And now, you know, you enjoy the night and you take it and you get ready for Monday night. And I think we're at the point now in the schedule where it's going to be pretty much every other night. Right? That's kind of how this league works, and you want to be feeling good, and this was a good one to put us in the right direction.
Yes, indeed. Gives them a minute to breathe, and Zach Hyman putting it into context very nicely there. 3 goals for him. The natural hat trick in the first period, the only other player in Oilers history to do that. Wayne Gretzky in 86 against the Quebec Nordiques. Hyman +2, 2 penalty minutes, a power play goal, a hit, 4 shots, 19-27 of work tonight for the Oilers winger. All right, YouTube Trev, more audio and video. Who are we going to next?
This is Stuart Skinner coming off of a big W.
Sweet.
A couple of results earlier this week. How important it was for you guys to get a win returning back to home ice?
Yeah, it's big. Definitely needed the points. Happy that we came out. We came out really hard. It was a great team effort. Got the win and get out of here.
What did you see in front of you?
I saw a team that we fought really hard from start to finish. I think we battled, blocked a ton of shots. Cooley made a huge block on the PK in the first period. I mean, just countless. I mean, we could go around the room and talk about how everybody, how everybody played, how everybody contributed, and it was a big night.
What did that say on Yanni Gord about just short of 4 minutes in do for you and the team and your confidence?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a good play by them. I was able to make the save, and after that, we got a couple goals. I know Heim's got a hattie pretty quick, so it was really good to see. That. So, yeah.
A lot of times those seem to have been going in. Maybe not your fault, but they've just been going in this year. And how important was that save, do you think, to getting the ball rolling in the right direction for your team?
Every save's important.
Yeah. You've talked a lot in the past about just sort of being able to use failure and sort of succeed from it. Like, A, how do you guys use this week to sort of learn from it? But B, what do you think a night like this can do for you going forward?
Yeah, I think it's big. I mean, it was a hard game to win. It was hard fought, and that's what it takes to win the NHL. And we got to just keep on doing that. Keep on doing the things that is going to make us successful.
With everything you guys have gone through, I mean, had it reminded you of Wichita, the game where you gave up 9 goals, or was that a little bit of a different animal in terms of how to deal with adversity?
I've dealt with a lot more than just that. I could go down the list on how many things I've gone through personally. I'm sure that's the same with everybody else. It's being a professional. And again, it's how you respond. Tony gave me a little pointer this morning, so thanks, Tony.
There was a time when a 4-0 lead would turn into 7-1 or something because everyone went for it. It didn't look like a team that was looking to score tonight, that they didn't need more than 4. Is locking it down for 40 minutes a sign of a team that's figuring it out?
Yeah, I think I think the guys did a great job in front of me from start to finish. Even in the first period, like even though we scored 4 times, pretty quick. We were shutting it down the whole first period. So it was just a great effort by everybody. In the third period, Yamo came down on a break, and Leo and Bush both back-checked incredibly hard and potentially saved a goal against. That's what it takes, and everybody's been doing it. Everyone did it today, and it's nice to get the win.
Nice to put up 1 goal against. This has been a team that's, you've been giving up a lot, not just you, but the team's given up a lot of 4s this year. One's got to feel good.
I'm very happy with letting in 1 today. Keep getting better and move on.
As someone who's still so young in his NHL career, what's it like being a teammate of Zach Hyman's and his ability to kind of lead by example day in and day out?
Zach is a great human being. Anybody you ask will say that. He's for the team. He's selfless. And he's just a good guy outside of the rink, and he's a hard worker every single day. He comes to work, he does his job, and he goes back home and he takes care of his family. And he's a wonderful man, a very good leader, and somebody that we rely on, and he relies on all of us, and that's how it's been working.
There you go. There's a relieved Stuart Skinner, and deservedly so, just allowing the 1 goal on 18 shots tonight on a Kraken power play redirection off the foot of Jaden Schwartz, who stays hot for Seattle. But in the end, some huge saves from Skinner, and he can enjoy that. So you could sense the relief there from the Oilers netminder. A guy that's feeling a little bit of relief, probably still pretty tense, all things considered, with this team being 3-9-1, is Jay Woodcroft. And maybe the hot seat gets a bit cooler with this one. Sounds like he'll be behind the bench, from my understanding, on Monday. And here he is, speaking to the media after his team's 4-1 victory in Seattle.
Right from the opening minute, and that big save by Stuart Skinner that kind of led the charge for you guys.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good effort. I thought we came out and tried to dictate the play, not wait and see how the game was going to play out, and we did a good job of that. And critical to that was that save that Skins made early in that first period. And I think tonight was, I think it's the 3rd time we've given up 18 or less shots in our season. It's nice to win one when you give up 18 or less, and I think it's probably the 6th time that we've given up 27 or less. It's nice to win one when you do that. There was a point in the first period I went and looked. I looked up at the shot clock. It was either first or middle of the second period. The shots were 24-8 or something along those lines. And to see you in the lead, that's a big thing. And that's a credit to Stuart, but it's also a credit to the shooters that went out and were able to give our goaltenders some run support. That's huge for a goaltender's confidence. He made the big first save, and then the shooters did the rest.
Sorry, you've kind of alluded to it, but a lot of times that goal has gone in, maybe not through Stuart or Jack's fault, but how important was that save to getting you guys going on the right track?
It's important.
Let's talk about one of those shooters, Zach Hyman, regarded as a leader in this locker room. When he has a night like that and he's able to demonstrate leadership capabilities day in and day out by example, what kind of a precedent does that set for your team?
Yeah, I have nothing but huge respect for Zach Hyman and the game, and that he brings to the table every night. He was bound and determined to make sure we were coming out with a lead in that first period, and I think all of his goals were within about a 4 or 5 foot radius. So that speaks to the game he was willing to play tonight. As a person, A1 person, fantastic leader, part of that kind of secondary leadership group who I thought all gave us something really good here tonight. I saw, obviously Hymes had success offensively. I thought Nuge was a force defensively and made some good plays with the puck. And then you look at on the back end, that secondary leadership group of Nurse played a heck of a game. Ekholm played a heck of a game. So when those 4 guys are helping lead the group, I think that's very, very important.
A lot of the things you've been waiting for this year showed up tonight, and a lot of the things that have been happening to you this year we didn't see tonight. Is this something you can build off of? Can you take this forward?
Yes. Go ahead.
everyone yesterday was talked a lot about perspective. What sort of perspective do you carry with a game like this, in the sense of, like, yes, you saw a lot of things you wanted, but do you look at it, it's one game and you build from it, or do you look at it, it's one game and maybe it could be the start of something?
Well, I think it might settle down some of the people in this scrum here, in terms of not seeing the results that we've wanted to get yet. We know that. As I said, we all own it. We're all professionals. No one's happy with where the record was at, but there's a lot of positives to our game. I think we were at the top of the league in most metrics offensively, including time in zone, chances created, all those kinds of things. And yesterday, I think I used the term, you're just waiting for the dam to break, and it broke in the first period. And then I thought, as the game wore on, we played a pretty mature, low event second and third period. We had what we needed. We still created, we just didn't finish. That's a credit to their goaltender. But there was lots of good. As I said yesterday, we're a real process-oriented group. This group's won a lot of games. So you stick with the process, even though you're not getting the result. But I'll tell you what, we talked about it yesterday. It's nice to get a result. It's nice to be rewarded for a good effort. Like I said earlier in this scrum, I think it's the third time we've given up 18 or less shots. It's nice to win one of those games.
Did you happen to catch a glimpse of the sign that was behind you saying Woodcroft's Warriors, backing our coach? And a follow-up to that, did you maybe feel like your players played for you tonight?
Well, no. I think our players played to win the game tonight, which is where the focus should be. Our players going to bat, or whatever you want to call it. To me, our players have a great batting average over the last since I've been here. And that speaks for itself. As I keep going back to it, no one's happy with where the overall record is. But in terms of the quality of people that we have in that locker room, the quality of players, we know we're better than our record. And going back to Speck's question, sometimes it hasn't gone right. But in team sports, what you do is you stick together and you find a way. If you can't make a way, you find a way.
Okay, what did you like about the way your team defended in the third period?
I mean, like I said, I think it's the sixth time we've been up 27 or less shots. It's the third time 18 or less. I saw that in a lot of other games too, but I'm real happy that we got the result tonight. Guys dug in. You mentioned Skinner's save in the first period too. Like, I saw him make two huge saves after the other team had a power play goal. That's big, and people dug in for him, and it was nice to get the result.
There you go. Pep in his step, and rightly so. Big win for the Oilers tonight. Jay Woodcroft speaking on his team's 4-1 victory over the Seattle Kraken. Good. They need something good to happen, and they earned it today. So, deservedly so, Jay Woodcroft gets to exhale a little bit and enjoy the victory. Like he generally says after a win, enjoy it for 10 minutes. And then it's on to the next one, which is 6:30 p.m. Monday night against the New York Islanders. 5-5-3 are the Islanders. They have dropped 3 straight, and they did lose earlier today to the Washington Capitals. Time now to get to the player of the game that YouTube Trev is going to provide. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move to your next one or from your current one. Community-driven, Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. YouTube Trev, take it away, pal.
Oh, baby. Nasty Chat, how we doing tonight? Yeah, we're buzzing. This is awesome. It's super nice to finally talk about an Oilers W. And, I cannot wait and finally give an Oilers player, the player of the game. Right. It's been a while, so I can go a lot of ways with this. Right out of the gate, Stuart Skinner with an amazing save, first save of the game. Huge honorable mention to him. If that save doesn't happen, do the Oilers win this? You never know.
Good point.
So there is that honorable mention to him. Just lights out all night. Dylan Holloway easily. You and Cass were talking about it all night long. Easily his best game as a pro. First, it looked good. It's his first goal. He's going to build off this for sure. And with the fight, that's the Holloway. Hopefully, the Oilers fans can get used to seeing. That's the Holloway, I think, that they drafted, right? Where we're gonna be seeing a lot more of that, I believe. But Zach Hyman, I mean, you can't not give this guy the player of the game. Hat trick, his second hat trick of his career, and his second hat trick as an Oiler. He never got one as a Toronto Maple Leaf, believe it or not. So yeah, I remember he almost got one game. I think it was his first year, but Yamo was offside, and then they had to take that back. That. So, but no, now he's got 2 under his belt. He looked good. The first one, it was just a sneaky backhand. Very, very nice setup by Evander Kane there. And then the other 2, they don't always have to be fancy, Tommy. And those 2 were just, right place, right time. And that's kind of who Zach Hyman is. So yeah, 3 goals, +2, 1 power play point, with the game-winning goal and 4 shots on net. What a sight for sore eyes, Oilers fans. This is great. Zach Hyman 100% is your Damon Bunting player of the game.
Well done, you two, Trev. Look
Thanks,
at you.
buddy. Yeah, I felt good on that one. Not gonna lie.
Nice. Well
Thanks,
done.
bro.
Well done. Look, you're getting better and better every day.
Yeah.
Talent, heart, and determination right there from one YouTube, Trev. All right, one last text to wrap up tonight. It's been a fun one. Much more enjoyable, a far cry from what we went through together on Thursday night after the 3-2 loss. This 4-1 victory, breath of fresh air. This text comes in and says, any idea if the Oilers are actively searching for players that can help improve the goaltending and D? There's been some rumors, but nothing with substance. Obviously, they need to find a way to unload some contracts to make it work. What I can tell you from what I've been told is that the hockey ops department has been abuzz, trying to get ideas together, trying to find some solutions, everything and anything they can to try to get this thing steered back in the right direction. Anything to help the guys in the room, they are working on that. Whether or not anything comes to fruition immediately, we shall see, but team keeps playing well like it did tonight. That kind of calls off the dogs. So a bit of a respite there, but that's what I can say from what I know in regard to what the team is doing to actively improve goaltending indeed. To that texter. All right. That'll do it. Let's all get some rest. To those of you who watched all along, we appreciate you. To those who tuned in via TuneIn and our audio stream or Sonos, we thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash the thumbs up button. Nasty chat, inbox, listeners, viewers, thank you so much for YouTube, Trev, and Matt Cassian. I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will talk to you on Monday, pregame show, 5 o'clock, Oilers versus Islanders. They win it tonight, 4-1 over the Seattle Kraken. Good night.